Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today we look at the subject of troubled teens. What kinds of homes and lives these young people have and what the situations have on them. Today is a young man that may be able to help us with this situation. Toby.
Actually, I prefer to be called Jack.
Joining us this afternoon is Jack Wolf. Nice to have you here, Jack. Let's tell us a little bit about your background. What was your childhood like?
Well, my parents split up when I was little. My brother lived with my dad and I lived with my mom.
I see. What was life like with your mom?
Well, we moved around a lot and we never really had that much money.
Did your mom work?
Whenever she could, yeah, but times were tough. I remember once we moved all the way out to Utah for one of our get-rich-quick schemes.
What was your mom's plan?
She thought we'd find uranium and make a lot of money.
So I'm guessing this was in the 50s during the uranium rush?
Right. My mom figured we'd make a fortune like Charlie Steen did.
But you didn't get that lucky, did you now?
Well, when we got there, a lot of the mining towns like Moab had been completely overrun. There were no jobs, there were people everywhere, there had even been murders.
So you decided to stay there anyway?
No, my mom bought this really crappy Geiger counter and we moved to Salt Lake City. She figured since no one was looking for ore there, we'd have the place all to ourselves. She planned to work for a mining company in the meantime.
So your mom already had a job waiting there for her?
Not exactly. See, my mom had wrote a letter of inquiry to their personnel officer back when we lived in Florida. He'd warned her that there were no jobs there and the entire company was about to go out on strike.
Then why did she plan on still working there?
Well, apparently his letter was very friendly. She was completely convinced she could get him to give her a job. She kept telling me it was guaranteed.
And you didn't try to talk her out of it?
I felt bad whenever I denied my mom anything.
So when you were younger, you were on the move a lot with your mom. So did you have any kind of father figure?
Actually, I had several.
So your mom had a lot of boyfriends?
She did.
So what were they like?
Well, first there was Roy. We moved to Utah to try and get away from him, so that should tell you what kind of guy he was.
What do you mean you tried to get away from him?
Well, he followed us and he and my mom got back together.
And how did that work out?
Well, they argued a lot.
How long were Roy and your mom together?
For a little while. Then one day he asked me how I would feel about having a little sibling. Then after that he just got up and left the next day.
Never came back?
Well, I haven't seen him since, but we didn't exactly give him a lot of time to come back.
What do you mean by that?
We left for Seattle that same day.
Did anything happen in Seattle?
Well, we met Dwight.
What was Dwight like?
Well, he dressed weird and he followed my mom around like a lost puppy. I used to make fun of him a lot.
Your mom was never really serious about him?
Actually, we moved in with him. He and my mom got married.
Oh, were you happy with him as a stepfather?
Not really. I didn't like Dwight.
Did your mom know you didn't like the man she was getting married to?
Well, she asked me if I would be okay with them getting married, and I said yes.
Why would you do that if you didn't like him?
I wanted my mom to be happy. I felt bad denying her something that she wanted.
You mentioned that before, but what don't you like about Dwight?
Where do I start? For one thing, he gave me a lot of work for no reason.
Most children feel that way about chores.
Let me give you an example. He had me shuck nuts for him. 2 years later, I found them in the attic, covered in mold.
Oh.
He also made me take a paper route. Then he took all the money I made from it. He told me he was putting it away in an account for me.
Really, was he?
No, he was spending it on himself.
That's just horrible.
Yeah, but it could have been worse. At least I wasn't like David Peltzer.
From a child called it.
Yeah, Dwight was an ass, but that kid's mother was a monster.
Enough. Let's get back to you now. Did he ever do anything to harm you? Did he ever hit you?
Yes, he did.
Did your mom know?
She found out after he shoved me in front of her. After that, we left.
That's good.
Well, yeah, but my mom wouldn't stay with someone who she knew was hurting me. She may have had a horrible taste in men, but she cared about me more than anything else.
I think that's why she was looking for a new man.
What do you mean?
Studies show boys from divorced parents adjust better when their mother remarries. Your mom probably knew that.
I was happy with just her.
Dependent on her. That's normal for kids whose parents divorce young.
Yeah, you can say what you want, but I was happy with just my mom. I didn't say anything when she dated those jerks because I wanted her to be happy.
She dated those jerks because she wanted you to be happy.
Well, I wasn't. Do you know what it was like for me growing up?
We're conducting this interview, isn't it?
Moving around constantly, so I didn't have any friends. Not for long, anyway. And Mom was always dating these jerks who made both of us miserable.
I dated those men
Oh, I know. She wanted me to have a father figure. Listen, you wanted to know what my childhood was like, right? Well, I'm telling you, I always felt unworthy growing up.
Worthy?
Yes, unworthy.
Not having many friends and the men that were in your life, that's understandable.
Yeah, and you can also understand if I felt that way when I couldn't make the grades to stay in college.
You seem to come out okay. You're an author, you served in the military, you have a son of your own. You're a better father than your father or your stepfather.
Not saying much.
Saying a lot. You went through all of that and are strong enough to rise above it and be a better father. All the time we have today, I encourage our viewers to read This Boy's Life by Jack. What kind of homes these people live in and what's this afternoon. Did your mother know that she yes, you must studies show that children that move around a lot tend to children who move around a lot tend to perform poorly academically. Okay. All the time we have today, I encourage our readers to read This Boy's Life, a book. I encourage our readers to read Jack's book. I encourage our viewers to read this.